Greetings and welcome. We are the Ministry of the Real Truth, and we would like to acknowledge a lady who placed a comment in our channel comment area, a YouTuber named Karen Reeves. Thank you for bringing it to our attention. We never knew that this supposed ancient manuscript existed. That has given us some reasons to investigate it. So what we did was to look for it online through our personal research. Thank you again, Karen Reeves, for bringing it to our attention. The Kolbrin Bible is not a biblical book, but is one of the few manuscripts about the time preceding the flood. There are some differences between the biblical account and the Kolbrin Bible, but there are also many interesting converging points. So we found a supposed full or complete version of the Kolbrin online and downloaded it and decided to peruse it. It's got quite a lot of chapters here, as you can see on the left here. There's this introduction. The Kolbrin Bible 21st Century Master Edition contains faithful copies of all 11 books of the historical and prophetic anthology formerly known as the Kolbrin. The Kolbrin Bible is an ancient secular academic work. It offers alternate accounts of several stories from the Holy Bible and other wisdom texts. Previously named the Kolbrin, the work is now titled the Kolbrin Bible by the publisher. This is because the term Bible accurately defines the work and also has its root in a civilization that played a critical role in its dissemination. In the classic sense, the term Bible comes from the Greek biblia or biblios, meaning books, which stems from biblos. Byblos was an ancient Phoenician port located in what is now the central coast of Lebanon. In their day, Phoenician traders operated the most advanced fleets of ocean-going vessels in all the world. Before their fall to the Roman Empire, their principal trade routes stretched throughout the Mediterranean area, out along the shores of Western Europe, and up as far as north as Britain. Of note to this body of work is that the Phoenicians imported papyrus from Egypt and sold it abroad along with ancient wisdom texts. In doing so, they distributed the earliest known variant of the Kolbrin Bible, called the Great Book, to their various ports of call. The Great Book was originally penned in hieratic by Egyptian academicians after the exodus of the Jews around 1500 BCE. Its original 21 volumes were later translated using the 22nd letter Phoenician alphabet, which later spawned the Greek, Roman and English alphabets of today. The only known copy of the Great Book to survive the millennia was the one exported to Britain by the Phoenicians in the 1st century BCE. Regrettably, much of it was destroyed when the Glastonbury Abbey was set ablaze in 1184 CE. The attack on the abbey was ordered by English King Henry II after he accused the abbey priests of being mystical heretics. So it wasn't taken to Britain by Joseph of Arimathea, according to this sentence, the uncle of Jesus the Christ. It was taken or exported to Britain by the Phoenicians in the 1st century BCE. And again, regrettably, much of it was destroyed when the Glastonbury Abbey was set ablaze in 1184 CE, and so forth. Fearing for their lives, the Celtic priests of the abbey fled into hiding. with what remained of the great book. There they transcribed the surviving Phoenician translations to bronze sheets and stored them in copper-clad wooden boxes. This effort became known as the Bronze Book. So it wasn't Galilean Aramaic, if that was spoken by Joseph of Arimathea, Jesus the Christ's uncle. Okay, is it much older phonetic or Phoenician language? It was written in that language. Again, there they translated the surviving Phoenician translations to bronze sheets and stored them in copper-clad wooden boxes. This effort became known as the Bronze Book. In the 18th century CE, the Bronze Book was merged with a Celtic wisdom text called the Cole Book to become the Kolbrin Bible. We just read online previously that it's a secular book. And again, it's not a Bible in a Bible sense. For more information, visit the website Kolbrin.com. Your own world book editions of the Kolbrin Bible, first published several print and electronic editions of the Kolbrin Bible, etc. Each edition is a faithful copy of the 20th century major edition and uses the Kolbrin citation system developed by Marshall Masters. In May 2006, Your Own World Books published second editions of the Kolbrin Bible, updated with over 1600 typographical corrections based on the Chicago Manual of Style. The verbiage remains exactly the same. As an index was also added, to the print and Adobe eBooks editions. Here's some information on the Kolbrin Bible, 21st Century Master Edition. Egyptian text of the Bronze Book, the first 6 books of the Kolbrin Bible. Celtic text of the Cole Book, the last 5 books of the Kolbrin Bible. And more information here on it. Languages used before the Common Era. The Egyptian texts of the Bronze Book, the first 6 books of the Kolbrin Bible, were originally penned in the hieratic as the Great Book of Egyptian academicians following the exodus of the Jews around 1500 BCE. One of several copies of this work was translated into Phoenician, etc., and made its way to Britain, as formerly stated. Languages used during the Common Era. The Celtic text of the Cole Book, the last 5 books of the Kolbrin Bible, were originally penned in ancient Celtic. Work began on the earliest parts of the Cole Book in approximately 20 CE and finished in approximately 500 CE. Inspired by the scope of the Egyptian texts, the Celts wrote their own historical and philosophical anthology in a similar manner, but in their own language. Viewed as a religious work by many, the Celtic texts offer a timeless insight into Druid folklore, mysticism and philosophy. According to some historians, the Cole Book was also inspired in part by a visit by Jesus Christ to Britain. At the time, Jesus was either in his late teens or middle 20s and travelled via a high-speed Phoenician trading ship to Britain with his great uncle Joseph of Arimathea, who undertook the journey to inspect a tin mine he owned. These historians further maintain that Jesus studied the Egyptian texts in Britain. This is because the Celtic text penned following his possible visit contained a never before published biography of Jesus. Given the detailed and highly revealing nature of this biography, the case can be made that the biographer personally met Jesus or interviewed someone who had. Additional corroboration comes from reliable historical accounts that indicate Joseph of Arimathea founded the Glastonbury Abbey in or about 36 CE, and that it eventually became the repository for these texts during the first millennium. So maybe he did, when he founded this, the Glastonbury Abbey, in or about 36 CE, took a copy of that bronze book there. Stored together in the Glastonbury Abbey under the watchful eyes of Celtic priests, the texts remained safe and were actively studied until the 12th century, when the abbey was attacked and set ablaze by minions of King Henry II. After the attack, the priests fled with what remained of these ancient works to a secret location in Scotland, where the Egyptian texts were transcribed to bronze sheets. At that time, the two books were still not joined, and the language of both remained as is: Phoenician, translated from Egyptian Hieratic, and Ancient Celtic, respectively. In the 18th century, the two books were combined and translated to Old English to form the first identifiable edition of the Kolbrin Bible. In the 20th century, the manuscripts were transferred to London and updated to Continental English. The latest edition of the Kolbrin Bible still uses the Continental English update, but has been edited according to modern rules of grammar and punctuation based on the Chicago Manual of Style. There'll be different reasons for that. Okay, unlike the Assyrian Aramaic with Katav Ashrid, it's never been upgraded, rewritten and translated into any other foreign language, according to Assyrian patriarchs and historical records that they have, because everybody knew that language, the Assyrian Aramaic or the Syriac, and all their church members knew that language, understood it as being native born to that region, so there was no need to translate it into any other language, i.e. English, African, Chinese or other. There's 7 major editions of the Kolbrin Bible. Born of great wisdom and love, the overall creation span of the Kolbrin Bible is greater than that of the Holy Bible. To facilitate a historical study of the work, the publisher has divided the creation span of the Kolbrin Bible into 7 master editions using the criteria of publication and publication era and country. First master edition, some information on it there. Second master, third, fourth, fifth, sixth master edition, publication era, country 20th century CE, England, New Zealand and America. In the years following World War I, the 5th major edition was relocated to London, England, where it was updated to Continental English. This master edition remained unpublished until 1992, when a senior member of the Hope Trust distributed several copies of the work. One distributed copy was printed in 1994 in New Zealand by a small religious order, and another in 2005 in America by Your Own World Books. The only differences between the New Zealand 1994 and American 2005 editions appear in the front matter, and the American edition added a new citation system and was published in both print and electronic variants. And there's the 7th edition. Kolbrin Citation Systems, Marshall Masters 2005 to 2006. All Your Own World Books, abridged and unabridged editions of this work use the same Kolbrin citation system, etc., etc. There's lots more information there. Each book of the Kolbrin Bible contains multiple chapters. And so forth. The Kolbrin Bible 21st Century Master Edition, Your Own World Books, 2nd edition, Creation 3:7. Quote, in this manner, the first earth was destroyed by calamity descending from out of the skies. The vaults of heaven had opened to bring forth monsters more fearsome than any that ever haunted the uneasy dreams of men. In this manner the first earth was destroyed by calamity, descending from out of the skies. Creation 3:7. The Kolbrin Bible, 21st Century Master Edition, Creation 3:7, Your Own World Books, 21st edition, Silver City. Is that Nevada? Marshall's motto: destiny finds those who listen and fate finds the rest. So learn what you can learn, do what you can do, and never give up hope. Marshall Masters. Book of Creation, CRT or Creation 1:4. The name which is uttered cannot be that of this great being who, remaining nameless, is the beginning and the end, beyond time, beyond the reach of mortals, and we in our simplicity call it God. There's the table of chapters. Chapter 1, Creation, CRT 1:1. Mortal knowledge is circumscribed by mortal ignorance, and mortal comprehension is circumscribed by spiritual reality. It is unwise for mortal man to attempt the understanding of that which is beyond his conception, for there lies the road to disbelief and madness. Yet man is man, and ever fated to reach out beyond himself, striving to attain things which always just elude his grasp. So in his frustration he replaces the dimly seen incomprehensible with things which within his understanding. If these things but poorly reflect reality, then is not the reflection of reality, distorted though it may be, of greater value than no reflection at all? CRT 1:2. There are no true beginnings on earth, for here all is effect, the ultimate cause being elsewhere. For who among men can say which came first, the seed or the plant? Yet in truth it is neither, for something neither seed nor plant preceded both, and that thing was also preceded by something else. Always there are ancestors back to the beginning, and back beyond that there is only God. This then is how these things were told in the great book of the Sons of Fire. Okay, so they're saying there, for who among men can say which came first, the seed or the plant? That's the old what came first, the chicken or the egg argument. But in the case of God, he could have, well, it says in Genesis, in the Brita, in the Aramaic, that trees came to be or were planted in the garden after their kind, right? And these had seed on it, okay? And then they regenerated. Maybe God said, command to be fruitful, plants and vegetation multiplied, right? Because what they had in the kingdom, or what they had above, so forth, was upon the earth. Something like that, in those words. Hopefully that's not too confusing. So whatever was already in heaven, he planted, vegetation, bush, trees, whatever, and then they grew duplicates or plants according to their kind. That's what it says in Genesis. So it's pretty easy to understand. Doesn't seem like there's anything complicated there. Right, same as animals. Right, they have offspring, right, after their kind, after them, right, and so forth. So it's not hard to get your head around that one. CRT 1:3. Before the beginning there was only one consciousness, that of the eternal one whose nature cannot be expressed in words. It was the one soul spirit, the self-generator, which cannot diminish, the unknown, unknowable, one brooding, solitary, profound, pregnant silence. CRT 1:4. The name which is uttered cannot be that of this great being who, remaining nameless, is the beginning and the end, beyond time, beyond the reach of mortals, and we in our simplicity call it God. CRT 1:5. He who preceded all existed alone in this strange abode of uncreated light, which remains ever extinguishable, and no understandable eye can ever behold it. The pulsating draughts of the eternal light in his keeping were not yet loosed. He knew himself alone. He was uncontrasted, unable to manifest in nothingness, for all with his being was unexpressed potential. Sounds very gobbledygook, very much like some sort of Gnostic text. Yeah, it sounds very gobbledygook. Okay, and it carries on about creation. It's quite extensive. There's the books here, possibly. So, what is this book again? We'll go back, have a look. Book of Creation, which is up here. Okay, and you have the book of Gleanings. Gleanings 1:5. Men struggle daily with the beast and rest with their living from the soil, their day being encompassed with strife and toil. So women bring forth children with suffering, and because they are all frail, their husbands rule over them. Man is conceived in the womb of woman, and she brings him forth to life. Therefore, when God raised man up from among the beasts, choosing him as his heir, and endowing him with an immortal spirit, he placed a veil over the portals of life. This, that woman should not forget she is unlike all other living creatures, and the trustee of a divine mission. For a woman not only gives life to a mortal being, she also bears a spark of divinity to earth, and there can be no greater responsibility. Hence the name Mother Earth, I guess. There's a table of chapters. Book of Scrolls, SCL 18, or Scroll 18. These are the words to be spoken to those who peer from beyond the dark portal. His arm was ever ready to help those who did good for others, and he lent his power to those who ordered what was good. He stood for those who could no longer stand and command, did for those who could no longer command. He carried the weary and succoured the helpless. He never oppressed the weak, nor did he permit injustices to go unpunished and unrectified. Tables of chapters. Book of the Sons of Fire 1:6. In days gone by you have had leaders to guide you, but before them were even greater leaders whom you have not known, and so forth. Book of Manuscripts 3:1. Men forget the days of the destroyer, only the wise know where it went, and that it will return in its appointed hour. Book of Morals. Behold the teachings concerning life and the testimonies, which are a true guide through the portals at the great halls of eternity. Book of Origins. Life is a song, sometimes a song of sadness, sometimes a song of joy. Now a dirge, then a hymn echoes through the chambers of creation. Often a gay carol or lilting love song gladdens the ear of the ear. And there's plenty more books. It's quite extensive. Okay, we're not going to read every book. Okay, you can download it for free from online. You can leave a link to it. Yeah, I think this one might be Lucifer. Not really sure. Go back up. Something about Lucifer, probably. Let's go right back up here. Oh yeah, Book of Lucius. Lucius 1:6. Nothing except the Supreme Spirit can have a real self-contained and independent existence. This does not mean that nothing else is real, and by, quote, illusion, unquote, is meant deception by the senses, which interpret falsely. Man is deluded by his senses, and so cannot distinguish the real from the unreal. I guess this one here would be Wisdom. Book of Wisdom. And looks like someone's made a note here. Chapter 1, Meditation and Morals. Awakened Spirit Within, and the notes here on the side here. Okay, what is this one? Probably the Britain book. Britain 4:2. After our Lord died, having been hung on the cross outside the city walls of Jerusalem, Joseph of Arimathea took Mary, the mother of Jesus, into his home until John could make suitable arrangements. Then he was called guardian of the lady, which title became confused in Britain with that of guardian of the sacred vessel. Okay, Book of Scrolls, chapter 1. Herein are recorded sacred things which should never be written, but the memory of man is like a storehouse made of straw, or like a store pit dug in sand. New bookmark, and I've highlighted it for some reason. We'll put a circle around it. Chapter 14. Everything unnecessary or purposeless has been winnowed away, and only the sustaining grains remain. Nothing not worthwhile has been kept. Lucius 14:2. Yet there is another reason for following this path, etc., etc. For by refining and strengthening the soul spirit and awakening all its latent powers, each man is potentially a man-god. Okay. He is no longer restricted to the sphere and can even contact greater beings beyond the mountain and from there learn the truth. So these people in that age knew somehow that the world was an orb or a sphere or a globe. Okay? That's what they're saying there. They weren't flat earthers. Messiah, what's this? Okay. I think we're talking about Christ. By the looks of it is. Okay, it's a Britain book. Okay, we were down here. The Messiah, and ended up way up there. Messiah, but this was a manifest falsehood. Jesus, the son of Joseph and Mary, was an inspired prophet, a teacher who held the hand of God, and there had been others before him. His mother was a decent woman. Both ate food as humans do. Mary did not set herself up as a goddess, neither did she preach. Britain 350. It is of no moment to those who are not Jews whether Jesus was the heralded Messiah or not. So believe as you will. But were he born of a Holy Ghost and not of Joseph, then he did not fulfill the prophecy. Men step outside the bounds of truth in their beliefs, but this too is of little moment unless they impose their beliefs on others. Britain 3:5. Jesus was not a sorrowful man, for greatness cannot be downcast. Always he brought strength to the disheartened and was not influenced by the despondency of others. I've highlighted some more here. And I've put a marking here. Britain 3:55. Book of Britain. Jesus answered, there will be an end to the beginning, and men will know this by the spirit of the times. Men will no longer be as brothers, nor will they be manly. Okay, so what, they're going to all be effeminate, weak. Women will be as men, and men as women. Or is that some sort of role reversal? Men will be women, and women will be men. Sex changes, all that sort of stuff. That's what it's hinting at. Men will become feminine, effeminate, totally effeminate, and women will be totally masculine. Okay, end time supposedly. And I put well there. Adultery will not be condemned, nor will fornication. Therefore these will flourish. Men will not honour their homelands, and there will be no discrimination among them, nor will they maintain the purity of their races. Adultery will not be condemned, nor will fornication. Therefore these will flourish. Okay, that's these waywards. Men will not honour their homelands, and there will be no discrimination among them, nor will they maintain the purity of their races. Fathers will not be honoured, nor mothers respected, and children will be raised to be wayward. Perversions will be encouraged, and criminals will mock the law. There will be incest and rape, and it will be unsafe to walk abroad. Floods, famines, droughts, and earthquakes will cause death and destruction. Strange sicknesses will smite the people, and there will be a denial of God. Babes will be slain in the womb. Okay, the usual day-to-day, yearly stuff that goes on in the world. Men will lust after the wives of other men, and marriage will lose its meaning, etc., etc. The writings of Aristoteles. There's quite a lot there. A lot more information there. Okay. And that's the end of the book there. You can download this book for free and read it in your own time. We've had a browse of it. It sounds very Gnostic, very gobbledygook, secular maybe. So what we're going to do is we are going to have a look at that online. Information on it. We found this website, the Kolbrin. We'll leave the link for you to read it in your own leisure, at your own time, your own pace. Okay. What does it say here? The Kolbrin is a collection of ancient manuscripts said to have been salvaged from the Glastonbury Abbey arson in 1184. The Kolbrin is also said to have a connection to Jesus historically through his great uncle Joseph of Arimathea. This Culdian Trust version of the Kolbrin was publicly disclosed online by Professor James M. McCanney. Okay, can we highlight that and find out who this guy is? Manuscript, maybe that's what that MS is. Chapters from the Kolbrin are made available on this website only with direct approval from the Culdian Trust. Okay, here at thekolbrin.com you can view portions of these manuscripts online or purchase them in hard copy or book format. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at this particular expert, see what he was all about. Okay, then cons and the pros. It might be him here, one of them here. Okay, so use something like Wikipedia. We can have a look at who this guy is. What are they saying? Is it the same guy? It's McCanney. James McCanney is an astronomy crank and a conspiracy theorist. He's chiefly known for his electric comets claims, or as he dubs it, the plasma discharge comet models. Is that the same guy? Okay, not too sure if that's the guy. Okay, not really sure if that's the guy. Because there's so many pictures here. Could be any one of these guys. Okay, let's have a look, see what we can find. Okay, he's mathematics. Okay, not too sure if that's the same guy. There's no picture of him here. Okay, more information. The Kolbrin is printed in New Zealand by the Culdian Trust and they remain responsible for it. Okay, I need a photo of this guy to determine exactly who he is. Read it online. Okay, can't open it. Something wrong with it. Okay, this is probably how much the hardback is. I'm not really sure what this is. And all these, how to pay it, shipping prices, etc., etc. Okay, home. See if we can find a picture of this guy so I can determine exactly who he is, which one he is. No, there's nothing there. Okay, we have to keep looking. Okay, become a member of that. That's probably why you can't get to that other part of this site. Okay. Nope. probably have to be a member. Apparently some other page might have embedded it, etc, etc. So there's all the information there. Basically what we read out in the book that we downloaded. Okay, we're still trying to find this person. Bibliotecapillary. Just have a look here. See what it says here. It might be the same guy. Unconventional views of James M. McKenney. About him. I just want to see if there's anything here on the Bible, etc. Okay, not really sure. Let's have a look at about James McKenney. I think it said M. McKenney, so I'm not too sure. We're not too sure. Sometimes these people are hard to find, right? The actual person involved is a picture, and that's about it. It may come up with something else. Okay, it's just a picture of the guy. Not too sure if that's the one. Art Bell and Dr. James McKenney, the NASA Lives and Tesla cover-up. Art Bell, a friend of ex-wrestler, WWE, WWF, Jesse Ventura, who claimed that when he was young, he managed to work at NASA, couldn't get a uniform because he was, military uniform because he was only 15. Learned a lot of things off the Nazis that were exported after World War II to America, and they built these spaceships and all this sort of stuff, as far as we can remember. Can't see anything here on if this guy's the one we're actually looking for. Maybe we might be able to find him on YouTube at some point. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if this is the guy we're actually looking for. It might be a completely different guy, a scientist. Okay, this has gone to McCann, James M. McKenney. No, can't find anything on this guy. Okay, let's have another try. Maybe we can click on that and actually go to where he has a website or something like that. Okay, he's got something to do with science then. It must be that guy that we were looking at. Okay, let's see. Okay. No luck there. Could be this guy here. We don't know. Don't think so. Books, posters. No. Don't think this is the guy. Not really sure. We're on a wild goose chase. We're a mouse looking for the cheese in the maze. Scientist, I think. Who's this? Okay, a conspiracy theorist, probably, along the lines of Zachariah Hitchens. Okay, about Planet X and all this sort of stuff. Yeah, not really sure if this is the same guy. We're on a goose chase. Don't know if it's this guy. Looks like he's got some involvement as a scientist at NASA. Works for NASA, not really sure. Okay, no idea if that's the guy. Maybe we should go check out YouTube. See if we can find them on there. Okay, there's a picture of him there. Oh, it's him. No, it looks like maybe it's a different person. Okay, what we might do is copy this, see if we can find information on this particular secular Bible. Aha, there we go. Kolbrin Bible audiobook. Book of Creation. Here's the audiobook. Kept from public view. Okay, so it's all over YouTube. But we're trying to find the guy who wrote it. Aha, is that him there? No, I don't think so. Nope. Okay. Nope, don't see it. Kolbrin Bible, Exodus and the Ark of the Covenant. We want to find the person. Professor, what's his name? Professor James M. Kenny. James N. McKenney. Okay. We'll have a look here. It's a hard task to find this. Someone else out there in YouTube land may be able to help us. If so, let us know in the comments and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Okay, we're trying to see if he's talked about anything biblical. Okay, can't see it here. Okay, there's a picture of somebody up here. We don't know who this is. Or George and Uri. Okay, so we don't know who this is. This him here? Professor James. What were we looking for? Professor James M. Okay, McKenney. Copy their whole name. Professor James M. McKenney. See if we can find him on Mr. Google. Okay, let's have a look at this book to see if we can find anything about the particular person. Alright. So far. Okay, let's see if we can find out way down the bottom. No, there's nothing there. Okay, so we may have to go to this. I think we already went there. Kolbrin.com. Where is it? I think we're already there. think we're already there. Which will probably be, where is it? Right. This site here, thekolbrin.com. My goodness. We'll go there without the added to it. Probably the same site. Yeah, the Kolbrin. Graham Hancock. We'll check out that guy, he's got something to do with it apparently. Very elusive. Okay, just going to skip down here. See what he says about that professor, if he does it all. Lots of information here. Okay, they've built the ark. Skip to the bottom here, see if we can find about this guy. So we can't find this guy. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the source. See if we can find it there. YouTube, your own word books. Okay. Can't see it there. Yep, elusive. So what we'll do is we'll go, where do we see that? It's on YouTube. Could be going around in circles. Aha, here's a website, channel, YouTube channel. Let's have a look at their videos, see what they have to offer. It's very Zachariah Sitchin, Planet X, Nibiru, by the looks of it. Okay, a couple of videos there. All about Nibiru, radio. Okay, this is the Kolbrin Bible. It's all there. Yeah, very. Who's this guy? Very Nibiru, Planet X orientated. Okay, let's have a look at this one. What they're about.
Hello, I'm Marshall Masters, publisher of Yowza.com and the author of Being in It for the Species, the Universe Speaks.
Okay.
Well, we've got a full slate of topics for this Planet X system update, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy them.
Okay, and so forth. Nothing, no mention about that professor there. Again, very Nibiru, Planet X orientated. What does it say there? This Culdian Trust version of the Kolbrin was publicly disclosed online by Professor James M. McCanney. Okay. I wonder if we can put that into Mr. Google. Okay, it's a Colbrin.com again. Okay, need some more information on this. have to go to that Culdian Trust. Okay, what's this? You can't get in there until you accept the terms. You've read the accept the privacy policy, etc., etc. Well, that's just basically slowing us down. So what we might do, okay, is go to the Culdian Trust. Oh gosh. See if we can find out any information on that guy. Teachings, Culdian perspective, forums, about, PDF downloads. What's this? An introduction to the Culdian Trust, PDF book downloads. This book written by Anon and published by Unknown, which was released on 16th February, blah blah blah. It's all about the Culdian Trust. Culdian Revival Trust book. Okay, Kolbrin Manuscripts. Okay. Okay, it's basically what we've already read in the PDF that we downloaded. It's very elusive in regards to the information about that particular professor. Okay. The Kolbrin is a collection of writings considered apocrypha by some, while others place it as pseudepigrapha. You can't really read it, so it's squished up. The term apocrypha has been applied to writings that were hidden, not being bad or heretical, by those within traditional church circles. Okay, unfortunately, the Kolbrin Bible, on the web there's no reference to the Kolbrin or the Bronze Book of on the Glastonbury website. Makes no mention of this book and does not even mention the possessor, etc., etc. Can't read it. So it's too squished up. Yeah. Okay, so we're round and round in a maze. Okay, let's have a look at this rational wiki. Might be able to tell us something there. Okay, here we go. Should have looked for this in the first place. The Kolbrin or the Kolbrin Bible is a collection of texts. It needs to be the translation of an ancient manuscript, UFO Planet X Nibiru at 2012 Apocalypse. Enthusiasts are fond of it. It was promoted in North Africa during 2005 on late night radio programs. Paul Hughes of apologetics.com characterizes it as a weird glomming of Celtic spirituality, Egyptian spirituality, Arthurian legend, catastrophe cults, to coin a phrase, comic books and capitalism. The book is virtually unknown to any mainstream organisation or medium. No hard copy of the purported original has been presented or is known to exist. Several attempts have been made to write an article about the book on Wikipedia, but every attempt has been deleted due to the lack of reliable sources. Well, that's what we've found, right? We've been running around like a dog chasing its tail. Chicken without a head. The Kolbrin contains 11 books. The first 6 books are said to have been scribed by Egyptian writers shortly after the Exodus, when all the Jews left Egypt, and are collectively called the Bronze Book. The last 5 books are collectively called Cold Book or Caeldy. I don't know how you say that, and are said to have been written by Celtic priests around the time that the New Testament was being created. Claimed history. These texts are claimed in the introduction to have been kept at Glastonbury Abbey, or read all that. Okay. The texts are then alleged to have been transmitted through a series of owners, including one John Culdee, probably the founder of the Culdian Trust, in the early 1300s, eventually being entrusted to a small religious group in England, and thence to the Hope Trust, of which little was known. Finally, the texts are claimed to have ended up in the hands of the Culdian Trust, formed in 1980. They claimed that the current version of the text was produced by an elderly man from the Hope Trust around 1992. It's that professor we're looking for, possibly, working from the original text. No old manuscripts or evidence of literary or scholarly references to it are available. In particular, the publishers not only have no manuscripts to exhibit, but no ownership provenance, other than vague allusions to an unnamed religious group and a fictional medieval cult called the Culdeans, playing on the name of the real but obscure Celtic Christian monks, the Culdees. The foreword states that the text has been adequately validated and endorsed by higher authorities without naming them. The introduction then adds undoubtedly additional material has been incorporated with good intent to fill gaps and elaborate on the original. And further, that no claim is made regarding historical accuracy, but that its origin is unimportant. These available editions. The connection between the various versions are obscure. The website first appears in the Internet Archive in 2004. It's probably way back machine. The first reference on that site to the Culdian Trust does not appear until October of that year, nor does the Culdian Trust website appear until February of 2005. Given the 2005 publication date of the Manning Masters edition, it might be presumed that it is derived from the other edition. There's the two editions there with their number. Other sightings. The text has received nearly no critical attention, but sites outside the pseudo-scientific / new religion realm point to its lack of provenance and dubious history, and suggest that it is a hoax, or at least apocryphal. Hughes suggests Glenn Kimball as a possible author. In 2006, Kimball published an article on the Kolbrin text and was associated with Master's edition of the text. The Bardas of Iolo Morganwig. What's that? Wikipedia, but that's what it was called. Iolo Morgan, whatever that is. Published in 1862, repeatedly mentions a book of bardic wisdom, or the wisdom of the bards, named the Kolbrin. However, this does not bolster the proposed antiquity of the Kolbrin, as the Bardas itself is of questionable authority. The author of the Bardas, Iolo Morganwig, no idea how to say that, was an 18th century Druid enthusiast who incorporated fragments of authentic Druid and bardic lore with material of his own invention. He was also a known forger and an opium addict. It may be that the author of the Kolbrin borrowed this title from the Bardas. None of the material in the Bardas cited as being from the Kolbrin corresponds to anything in the Kolbrin, nor does Morganwig's backstory for the Kolbrin correspond to that of the Kolbrin. Okay. And that's the information we have on it. Okay, so that's basically what it is. A collection of texts alleged there are extraordinary claims which require extraordinary evidence to be the translation of an ancient manuscript. UFO Planet X Nibiru in 2012. Apocalypse enthusiasts are fond of it. Okay, so that's what we found. It seems to be very Zechariah Sitchin's Planet X Nibiru and NASA and all that sort of stuff. Okay, so well, we make no apology for the runaround Sue, running around like a chicken with its head off, dog chasing its tail, trying to find information on this. Again, thanks to Karen Reeves and her comments for bringing that to our attention. You can download it for free and have a look at it in your own time and come to your own conclusions of it if it interests you. We will leave the link to that download under this video. Thank you for looking at our video. And if you really liked it, give us a like. Subscribe to our channel, give us a like. And then add your comments, tell us what you think of this book, the Kolbrin, etc. in this video. And we'll get back to you on those as soon as we possibly can. And then, if you want to, because you found this video very interesting, after you subscribed and gave us a like, for bringing it to your attention, share it with all your Christian, Jewish, Islamic, family, friends, neighbours, strangers, and other UFO, Planet X, Nibiru, Zechariah Sitchin, Art Bell fans.